Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Christina C. Jones here, as always. I don't know who else it would be, but I'm here. And I want to talk today about offensive formations. So it has been, tomorrow will make 2 weeks since the early release. Friday will make 2 weeks since the wide release of this book. And so I feel comfortable filming my post-release thoughts about the book because I feel like the majority of you have probably already read the book.
I've read it and I don't want any spoilers.
Okay, so you're gonna wanna find yourself a different video because this video is going to be full of spoilers. First, I do wanna let you guys know that tomorrow, which is Thursday, June the 17th, there will be a chat about the book in the Blackwood Community Center group on Facebook. That's my author group on Facebook. The chat is going to be at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to participate in that, you will need to be a member of the group. Blackwood Community Center over on Facebook. You should be able to search it. It's private, but it's not secret. So you should be able to find it, but you won't be able to like see anything until you've been accepted as a member in the group. Also,
Black Romance Book Club
over on Instagram, hosted by Ashley from Ash Reads Books. They are actually talking about offensive formations. That was their book club read, and they're going to be talking about that on Friday. I don't have the details right in front of me, but if you find her on Instagram, it's at Ash Reads Books. You should see the flyer, and I shared the flyer on it. I shared the flyer like in my Instagram story too. So you should be able to find the information about it. Also, on June 23rd at 6 p.m. Central Time, you know what? The Blackwood Community Center chat is at 7 p.m. Central Time. The Indie Love chat on June 23rd about the Connecticut Kings as a whole, or about the Connecticut Kings season 4 with me and Love and Indie Love. We're going to be talking about that. That is at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's June 23rd in the Indie Love group on Facebook if you want to participate in that discussion as well. Also want to do a quick shout out to Honesty and AG over on the Right Honesty podcast. They did a season of their podcast where they talked about all the different Connecticut Kings books. Really good conversations, really good, you know, just approaching the work not from a standpoint of necessarily liking the author, but a podcast that was truly about discussion of the work and discussion of the characters and really deep diving into the characters, which I completely appreciated. They did a wonderful job with it. So that's the Right Honesty podcast. I listened on Spotify. I think it's available everywhere. So if you want something to listen to, want to, you know, kind of hear some other readers' thoughts about the Connecticut King series, I would highly recommend that. All right, and now let's get into it. I want to start with Tegan and Ambrose separately. How we have these two characters who they're leading very different lives, right? Tegan, her star is very much, you know, like she's very much on people's lips and on people's minds and on people's screens and all of this stuff. She is being talked about. Ambrose is not. Ambrose used to be talked about, but then he gets this injury and all that stuff that he was kind of known for, all this kind of buzz that he had when he was coming out of the draft and he was, you know, the hot new young thing, all of that is gone. And so they're at very different places, but also at the very same place of trying to, of thinking of ways to engage with their sport and prove that and prove what they're capable of. They're very much both in that place. For Ambrose, it's because he has not been able to prove what he is capable of. And for Tegan, it's because she's proving it. She's already proving it. She's been proving it, but people are so focused on this other stuff, on their opinions on whether or not she should be twerking on the internet or whether or not she should have broken up with her ex or spoken on him or all this other stuff. People's minds, instead of being able to see her as a full person, they're all focused on this other stuff, on the drama and all of that, instead of really seeing her for the elite athlete that she is. And they are both immensely frustrated by they're both very frustrated by this. So through the process of writing, if you watched my Let's Write a Book series, you know how frustrating and concerning like the whole front third or so of this book was for me, because it really was not about them as a couple. It really was not about them as a couple. It was about really cementing who they were separately, which again, when I was writing it, it was so incredibly frustrating. Like, oh my God, will y'all just get together? Like, will y'all just make this thing happen? Like, what's the holdup? Let's go, let's get to it. But reading it back, I had so much better of an appreciation for it, because I see, like now, I can see how vital that was to understanding how they ended up coming together, and how their connection was so, like, once they got past the drama of that miscommunication, and once they got past kind of the hesitance, the hesitance of a potential new romance, because neither one of them is trying to do that. They're focused. They're building, and they're focused on their own lives. They really don't even have time for something romantic. But once they get past all of that, and one, or rather, once none of that really stands in the way of this connection that neither of them is really neither of them really knows how to process. Like, that connection is so strong, and so, like, the chemistry between these two, and the passion between these two, and I know I keep using that word, but the connection between these two is really something special. And I don't know that I could have articulated it well enough were it not for the building that happened in the beginning, in order to be able to see these two as fully realized, and be able to see the individual struggles that they're facing, that coming together helps both of them be able to better parse and figure out. So for as different, I guess, of people as Tegan and Ambrose are, Ambrose is very laid back. He's very chill. He's very, he's like a sleeping bear, right? Like, when you like, if like you like, he's cool. He's cool. He's very cool. He's very low key. But if you take him there, he wants all the smoke. He's ready to go there with you if you're going to take him there. No matter where it is, he's ready for it. And Tegan doesn't require much poking. Tegan is always ready for the smoke. But outside of those kind of shallow differences, the kind of obvious differences, they have so much overlap. They both have these legacies that they are trying to live up to. They both have this firsthand experience with domestic abuse and domestic violence, and they both are trying to prove themselves, and they both need, like, they need this friend. They need this someone in their corner who uniquely understands all of these different challenges that are happening, and neither of them realizes that they need this person. And it's not that either of their lives are empty. It's not that neither of them have friends or family or anything like that. They both have robust lives, and they both have people in their corner. But there's limitations to that. There's only so far that their mothers and the coaches and brothers and cousins and friends and all of that, there's only so far that those people in their lives understand them. But Tegan and Ambrose, they understand each other, even when they're fumbling in how they express it, and even when they're having to kind of stop and think, like, wait a minute, is what I'm saying, is it coming across the way that I'm intending? And am I making sense right now? And am I really communicating with this person in the way that I want to? Even when they have to stop for those moments, they understand each other and complement each other in a way that just it just really makes me excited to talk about and think about. So their knowledge of each other really starts with this misunderstanding. Tegan is a bigger star, and so Ambrose has kind of Ambrose has seen her kind of in his peripheral, right? But he doesn't know her. He's never, been in the same place with her, never engaged with her. There was no reason to, right? She's this big time tennis star, and he is kind of working his way back up from, from a no name on the team. And the podcast episode happens. I have to remember that you guys have probably read the book already. But the podcast happens and this whole misunderstanding and all of that. And again, Tegan is ready with the smoke. Like that was honestly one of my favorite scenes to write. Like, what is she gonna say? What is her clapback gonna look like? Because the clapback was deserved. Even though even as you're feeling bad for Ambrose, just like his coach tells him, you need to be mindful of the company you keep, and you need to keep your mouth out of women's business. It's basically, where Coach Lance is with that. And he doesn't really get in trouble, for the most part. The most trouble he gets in is with Tegan, who kind of holds it against him, maybe longer than she should. But that's very easy for me to say because I'm not Tegan. I'm not the one who has all of this kind of thrown at her. And I'm not the one who is struggling to be seen. And that's something that even on a very low, a very, very low level, I understand because I'm by no means a celebrity or anything like that. But people will say whatever to you, about your work, in your face or not in your face or whatever. People really will just do and say whatever, and you're supposed to just take it. You're supposed to just sit there, and it's this thing of, well, you're the one who put yourself out there, or you're the one who did this and you're the one who did that. You should just ignore it. It shouldn't mean that much to you, or whatever. But there is so little respect for other people's mental health in the name of content or in the name of keeping it real that it's honestly scary out here. It's honestly a little scary. You mean to tell me people can say whatever they want to say to and about me, but the moment I say something back, I'm the problem? Okay. That makes sense to y'all? That to anybody. That makes sense to y'all? But the thing that works in Tegan's favor is that these happen to be other public figures that she replies to because she's just sick of it. She's tired of it. She's rightfully sick and tired of it. And so everybody gets the smoke. And Ambrose included, because you were there. But eventually she gets past it because, she gets past it, and she's able to work with him. She's not interested in him romantically. He looks good, yes, but she's not interested in him romantically. Even after he kind of comes to the rescue for her, not kind of comes to the rescue, he does come to the rescue for her. And I think that's one of the first moments where we really see that want all the smoke Ambrose. And I think that it can maybe come across a little, I don't want to say abrupt, but maybe unexpected, because this is not something that we've seen from Ambrose. This is not a side of him that we've experienced. We've had the hints that maybe his father was not the kindest, or, that there was trouble in paradise with the parents' marriage or anything like that. But this is the first kind of clue that we get when Ambrose tells her, this wasn't about you, I was able to help you, cool, but it wasn't necessarily about you. I just don't like that. I'm not going to watch it go down in front of me. These other dudes, they can call me a punk. Women can call me whatever they want. Men can call me whatever they want. Whoever can call me whatever they want to call me for it. But I'm not watching that. You're not going to be aggressive, with somebody who is smaller than you, can't defend themselves against you. Like, you're not going to do that in front of me. You're not going to do it, period. But especially not in front of me. And that's really the first time that we get to see that. And I don't think that makes her more attracted to him necessarily. Like, she doesn't see it and like, ooh, it's not like that. But it definitely makes her, it shifts the way that she sees him. It's like before that, she had kind of come to this point of, well, he's fine, And I don't mean fine like he looks good, but he does look good also. But she's, just like, he's cool. But then that situation happens and it's like, what is this guy really about? Like, who is he? And really, everything just kind of kicks off from there. Now they're working together and they are like, that connection is just building to the point that they're exchanging phone numbers and they're talking to each other outside of what's required for working together. And they're just taking more and more notice of each other as this friendship is evolving. And then it's like, wait a minute, this is something else. Like, friends, okay, but it's more than that too. I want to talk about character motivations because for Tegan and Ambrose, like, kind of separately, it's pretty clear, right? Like, we see what's going on with them. We see what's going on with them. They want to be seen as this thing and they want to carve out their own legacies and they want to paint new legacies. And for Tegan, she wants more kids to know that tennis is a Black folks thing, and just all these different little, these different little elements of everything, right? But for some of the side characters, not so much. And I'm thinking specifically about Taj, Ambrose's mother, and Ava are kind of the three that stick out for me because these are the ones who I kind of heard more about from my betas. I definitely heard about Tegan's mother, Miss Cheyenne Tolliver, everybody's favorite with the smoke mom. Like, I definitely her, but there was no real confusion or anything. And I don't even want to say confusion because confusion isn't really it. It's just a lack of understanding. With Taj, there is no understanding. And I don't think that there needs to be, because people who are like that, abusers, sometimes they have a reason, not an excuse, because there is no excuse for abusing someone, but you might have reasons. You might have your own traumas. You might have mental illnesses, or you might have, there could be any number of reasons, but not excuses. But that also just might be who you are. And I think that Taj is one of those people that is just who he is. I just honestly, I didn't care to explore it, which is maybe a failing on my part as the author, and I can accept that. I can accept that. That's not anyone else's, this is by no means me painting that as, well, that's your problem, not mine. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just, for me, he's just a villain. Like, he's just a villain. Like, there's no deeper motivation. There's no deeper thought process behind it or anything like that. He is just a villain. Like, violence is tough for me. Violence is tough for me, even though, some stuff, maybe you just need to get your shit rocked, like, I get that, but it's still tough for me. That's just a me thing. Like, with regards to my work, I never minded in anybody else's work. Just for me, I'm thinking about, like, the real life implications of what something, of something like that before I include it, in my work. He deserved it. He deserved it. He deserved it. You don't get to just put your hands on people and harm people and all of that, and you get to just walk away from it. You get to just walk away from it with nothing. snatching folks up in grocery stores and paying to have people shot. You deserve whatever comes to you, buddy. So there's that on that. And then Rose's mom, Miss Vonda. So that was more controversial, I think, than I expected it to be. Or not really controversial. I wouldn't, no, not controversial isn't it. I've just been surrounded by a lot of church. And I've heard a whole lot of sermons, a whole lot of guest sermons, and a whole lot of vacation Bible school, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And anybody who's been to church, especially Baptist church in the South, you know that it can be a mixed bag. And I've heard some things, and because of the things that I've heard, and just different things that I've read, things that I've seen firsthand, I know that Ms. Vonda is an incredibly realistic character, heartbreakingly realistic in terms of her character. Ms. Vonda made her decision based on her beliefs, and it's not really for us to agree or disagree with. Like, who cares if you agree or disagree with this decision that I have made for my life? And we have to come to a point of, especially if we're, calling ourselves feminists and saying support women and stuff like that, sometimes we are not going to agree with it. And we have to let people decide their own things, especially good and grown women. Not everybody is going to make the decision that you make, and not everybody is going to see the thing the way that you see the thing, especially when you weren't there. You don't know it all. You only know from the outside looking in, and you're not in that person's head. And so I think it's a very easy to make a value judgment on someone else's decisions based on a situation that you've never been in yourself. I think it's complicated. I think it's complicated. And all of this, I by no means do I agree with Miss Wanda, like from the bargain that she made in the first place to, to a whole host of other things. I don't agree at all, but I had to respect her character. Because I respect all my characters, whether or not I like them or like their actions. I think that a lot of times as writers and readers, we let our own personal, we let our personal kind of specifications of what we like get in the way of letting characters be people. We want our characters to be characters instead of our characters being people. And I think that if you want to write in a way that feels whole and feels vivid, I think that you have to let the characters be people, and you don't get to interject. You're there to, as my bae Love Belvin would say, you're there to record. You're not, you're not the master. You are the recorder. You're the scribe, and so that's what you do. You write it down. You don't try to shift them and adjust and, oh, readers aren't going to like that, so I got to do this and I got to do that. No, you write the story. You write the characters the way that they came, and you let it be that. And then Miss Ava. I love Ava. Okay, I adore Ava, and we will see Ava again. We will absolutely see Ava again. I think it's so funny because from the moment she came on screen, my betas were like, who is this? And everything was just, which is understandable, which is understandable. You're rooting for the heroine. You're not rooting for this other woman situation. But it's so funny how it's just instantly like anti-Ava, and she ain't even done it. She hasn't even done anything throughout the course of this book. Ava does nothing but be human and talk to her friend. That's all she does. And she called out of her name and sent off and told to go to hell. All kinds of stuff about my betas. And I'm like, if y'all are watching, I was truly laughing because I get it. I definitely get it. But again, like, she gets painted as a villain from the moment she hits the page, but she's not. She's not. That's just her friend. Like, literally, that's just her friend that she was sleeping with, and she developed certain feelings for, as those situations do. It's not that black and white, and feelings are complicated because people are complicated. And I'm laughing thinking about when Tegan was like, at that one of those very last scenes, when Tegan was like, I went to go see your old work. And Ambrose was like, oh God, here we go. Because she knew better. She knew better than to bring that up. And she got exactly what she was looking for when she brought it up, asking a question like that. But yeah, these characters, man, I really, really love this book. Like, I really love this book. Something I did not love, though, was that neat wrap up at the end.
Hated it.
Hated it. Hated it. I hated typing every second of that. But again, is what the characters called for. Is what their journey was. This is what they told me their journey was. But I like my open-ended endings that I have heard so much feedback. I've heard so much feedback about that. Like, I hear, oh my God, I hear all the time, this felt incomplete, or this felt rushed, or it didn't feel like it really ended, and stuff like that. And if you're somebody who has ever left that in a review of mine, I want you to know, girl, bye. From the bottom of my heart, bye. I write the endings that feel right for the characters and for my work. If you want neatly wrapped up endings every time, you can go quite literally anywhere else. So this is no shade, like, to anybody, but there are so many people who will give you those pretty little neat wrapped up endings that you desire. But for a lot of my books, we've only known these characters for a few months, and they just met each other. It ain't realistic for them to be getting married and having babies. And honestly, the I love yous is pushing it sometimes, if I'm keeping it a bug. But y'all be on my neck about them endings to the point that I don't even like giving those wrapped up endings. And so when it came to this one for Offensive Formations, a proposal and a baby, excuse me, it was so cute. It was so cute, and I was mad about it. Oh, I was so mad about it. Oh, I was so mad about it. More than one of my betas was like, are you okay? Because they knew I don't do that neat ending stuff, but that's just what it called for. And it was so freaking cute and so incredibly them. I love that I got to bring Will Cunningham back, got to do the interview with her, and got to bring in kind of all of my CK alumni, if you want to call it that, at the end. I didn't like that though. Like, it was cute and it worked and I like it for the book, but having to do it, And before somebody misinterprets what I said and takes it more personal than it needs to be, I fully believe that your preferences and all of that are absolutely your right. As long as you remember that I unequivocally have the right to write these books the way that I want to write these books. And your dissatisfaction with the decisions that I made in my art does not mean that something is wrong with my art. It just does not fall in line with your personal preferences. Some of y'all are probably like, now where is this coming from? What is Christina talking about? I'm going to tell you what Christina is talking about. Christina has been in reviews, which are not her business. Briefly, very, very briefly. But I have seen enough to know that everybody did not love this project. And one of the ways that I know that I am just continually growing and growing, I truly do not care. Like, I truly don't care. Because look, I have grown beyond the place where I feel like I need to cater to the preferences and expectations of any specific reader. I truly view this thing that I'm doing as art. This is my passion, it's my gift, and it's my privilege. And I will not alter a single thing about my passion, gift, and privilege to cater to anybody's whims. And that is by no means like a new development or anything like that, but I am just getting so much more comfortable in it. Like I'm getting more and more comfortable in it. And that is just amazing. It's amazing. In 2 years, I will have been doing this for a decade. So if any of y'all, like, I'm not gonna call you baby writers, but you haven't been doing this, that long, and you're wondering, when am I gonna feel, when am I gonna not care anymore? When are the reviews gonna not bother me anymore? Just know, in 2 years, I'm coming up on a decade, and I'm still working on it, like for real, not bothering me. And the way that I'm for real, like I'm annoyed, but I'm not bothered. You know what I mean? There's a difference, and it feels good. But with all that said, the overall support that I've gotten for this book has been amazing, like mind-blowing amazing. Offensive Formations is my most successful project to date in terms of like sales numbers and all of that good stuff. And not to mention, I introduced something completely new, which was selling like a full-blown release myself via my Shopify site. I did not think that y'all were gonna like turn up there the way that y'all did. And look, like when I say mind-blowing, I really do mean like mind-blowing. And I cannot understate how much I appreciate you guys supporting me in that manner, because as an indie, there are so many opportunities that I don't get. And as an indie who passionately writes about Black characters, who will not be swayed or persuaded away from that, and as somebody who is vocal about it, I get even fewer opportunities. My name gets crossed off even more lists, and just all this different stuff that I'm not even going to get into. But things like this, things like you guys supporting me when I do a paperback sale myself, like buying my ebooks from my site, buying my audiobooks from my site, all of that stuff helps me be able to try new things. It helps put me in a position where I can try those new things, where I can branch out into these other areas, where I can try these different methods and test these different things and take certain risks so that I can help continue the push forward of this indie landscape. All of that stuff matters. And again, like I cannot understate how much I appreciate the fact that you guys showed up, not just for me, but for Love with her release, and for everybody, who all of my fellow indies who are just doing our best to do the best that we can. Like we don't have that stamp of approval from traditional publishing. We're not getting on, the book club list, and we're not getting certain deals because we write Black folks, and because we're vocal about writing Black folks, and because we didn't get the white man's paperwork, because we didn't pursue the traditional deals and stuff like that. Again, I'm not going to get into it, but we're trying to make this thing work, and we're trying to just carve out this place for ourselves. And I appreciate that so many of you have been willing to come along with me on this journey as I do what I can to help, to help pave the road a bit, I guess. All right, that's all. This video is like already much longer than I intended for it to be. This is gonna be a lot to edit, so I should go ahead and get to it. All right, y'all, bye.